Welcome back, everybody. Try as I may and try as I might, I feel like this particular episode, installment, whatever this turns out to be, I feel like it's going to be slightly more disjointed than even my usual output. So bear with me. Frequent visitors of the channel will remember this, the J Concepts creep that has been featured on Daphne the Sport for quite some time. Like, it's basically her original body, aside from when she ran that plastic Injora hard body for about 15 minutes. So, among the rigs here, Daphne has undergone some substantial changes over time. Like, the servo gets changed, the wheels get changed, tires, you name it. So when Jolly Green became a 6x, and that's still a long and ongoing process with many remaining steps, there were quite a bit of cast-off parts, and then the Rift got built, and then there were electronics that went in there and came out of there. So Daphne is undergoing yet another transformation. We're going to talk about that here pretty quickly. So as Daphne has been undergoing something of a complete renovation, I figured might as well put another body on there, and I talked about this before. And the renovations have essentially completed. So all that remains now is painting that body, the body you see right before you. What is all that? There we go. And much work went into Daphne. We're going to discuss that in just a moment. But before we get into that, let's talk about the primary focus of this particular video, which is, I watched some YouTube. I've watched a couple videos, and the patina finish on the body seems to be pretty hip right now. And much as I don't care for painting bodies, that's why you'll notice everything around here is primarily single colors. I was really happy with how Zoidberg, the Capra, came out. So we're going to give it a try. And we're going to do it my way, which is auto parts store rather than the local hobby shop, because my local I have two auto parts stores within like 3 miles, and my nearest hobby shop is 45 miles away. So, the base coat for Daphne's new Creep-er, I think they call it the Creep-er, is going to be silver. So, if you've seen any of these patina videos, you paint the inside and the outside base coat same color. Some people do gunmetal, some people do that. I'm just going to do silver, because when I painted the green Defender shell, I did it green on the outside, silver on the inside, so when it gets scratched, you can see the silver. Then they all seem to go over the exterior with a layer of white, I guess, so when you buff through, you get like highlights, I guess. Then there's salt, and I can't find the thing of like table salt, so it's going to be Himalayan pink salt on this body. Why not? We're not using RC paint, so might as well. It's got a grinder. It should be fine. You need a spray bottle of water to make the salt stick to the body. Then I don't have any sort of RC specific paint that is for the rust layer that will go over. So, that goes first, second, third. So then fourth over that will be Rust-Oleum Red, because if you're painting over an already polycarbonate specific paint, you can use whatever. It doesn't matter. And then for her final body color over top of that, I don't know. Because I have the red I had bought for Zoidberg and never used. I have this charcoal that I have bought and never used. I have this sand that I have bought and never used. And last but not leastly, and potentially the leader, at least in my mind at the moment, is this Tamiya PS3 light blue, because I worry, despite the fact that the caps look very different, I worry that rusting red, I think the only thing that's really going to show is the white highlights. So the blue, I think it feels like there's enough in there. All the other cans are essentially full, so no problems there. It is currently 54 degrees outside and 60 degrees inside the building. So it's going to be a minute before that gets started, but that's okay because I've got plenty to keep myself and this video occupied, and we're going to look at that. The creeper body is, as of yet, completely unprepped. I do have the window masks here, just out of frame. These are the yellow on yellow masks supplied by J Concepts with the creeper cab, and these are the masks that I scanned. I scanned that on the scanner and then resized these and then cut them out on the Cricut. And the unfortunate part of that is, man, sometime if you look very closely at these, they're the like masking tape type. So that looks sharp to a human eye, but when you get really close in there, the edges are so jagged. I had to learn some Cricut tricks, which thankfully will stay with me to get the nice smooth edge on these masks. They are exactly the same size. They came out very well. I'm very proud of myself. So mounting the creeper got pretty easy because I was already fabricating a whole bunch of stuff that we'll see right now. The only way to get the body on and off is you got to take the front posts off and then slide it back, because I got it to sit down so low. There's a little notch. And then we just have the two body posts right there on the back. For some reason, the creeper sits much lower than the creep body did, which is crazy because they're the same thing. But as I wanted the cab completely uninterrupted, I fabricated this fella to hold the battery up front. Had to change all the Daphne was running a lay down servo, and when I switched it to the conventional position, all the link geometry in the front had to change. Everything had to change. It does indeed have Jolly Green's all aluminum gearbox in there with the aluminum support for the shift servo. It's now running a 900 kV 3548 Outrunner, which is amazingly smooth and far quieter than one would expect on a $59 Hobbywing Quick Run 10BL 120. The initial startup can be a little surgy like that, but like, I don't know, it's weird. Once it's going, it's got low speed for days. And the drag brake is so powerful that like it won't, you can't even make a wheel turn. Because we're all aluminum in there, I got to put this on a stand for this. I mean, obviously there are probably better Outrunner controller options out there, but that's so slow. And it really, aside from this, the brake noise, you know, I've seen videos of Outrunners before, and I thought this thing was going to be absolutely howling, and it really... Most of that noise is the drive shaft rubbing on plastic. I'm really happy with it. It has a very minor test run in it, which is kind of why Velma's head now is a little... I may or may not have rolled it without any sort of body on it. So now, the way it's set up, I fabricated the little aluminum side skirts here. Much cutting and accommodation for the 2-speed servo. The same sort of operation on the other side using I think that's a Rustler receiver box. Pretty much all the wires got cut down. I still have not mounted the switch because that's the kind of thing that I do. It's not mount switches. The previously mentioned change in geometry. I've gone turnbuckle for the steer link and the panhard bar. And they are exactly the same length to the millimeter. So Daphne's steering is working remarkably well. And with that that noisy Holmes 500 in there, very torquey, just, loud. So we are going to do everything we can to get this body painted and fitted and complete. I do want to make before I put that on, I want to make like a panel for back here so I can, I don't know, mount some accessories or something on it. Also, to me it feels, maybe it's just because it's such a big expanse, but, I measured and it's 060. It's a very consistently pulled body. I'm very happy with that. You got to get it on from the back and then just press it down forward. I got the clearance as tight as you can get. The battery strap touches right there in the front. It's got the perfect amount right below the sides. The only thing that's allowing me mentally to do this patina finish is it doesn't look extraordinarily difficult. It just looks more time-consuming than difficult. And that's a $25 body, which in crawler terms is practically free. And to get it fitted on here, I had to do 4 holes and cut that little bit out. The rest, it just fits. I am going to have to nip a little off right there because under compression we get a little right there. I know a lot of people just cut the fenders straight off, but at least for now, we're going to try them on there. I did think about just cutting the vertical part off and leaving this flat on there. We'll see. We will see. Also, before I get into how the day is going to be divided, if you want to talk about forward weight split, Daphne's center of gravity is like there. There's no weight back here. There's nothing back there. I'm happy with how she looks right now. I'm hopeful that I don't mess up this body irreversibly. I'm hoping I don't do things like accidentally sand the masks off. I have so much work to do on other rigs, but you'll see why right now, why today is the day for attempting a paint finish I've never attempted before. And that is, my neighbor was kind enough to drop off this massive array of materials, which, if you've seen in the past, is going to take me a little while. But while this was here, just getting sort of piled up, this stuff showed up, which is absolutely amazing. And to make that better, for the course and worse for my back, there's pretty much a full container of it. So, that has already begun. And had to get the tree height back down because I don't like trees hitting me in the face. So this section constantly under development. I'm just pitching stuff over here out of the barrels. Oh, hey little fella, are you sleeping? Hey buddy, what are we doing? Yep. Oh, he's gone. So the goal is in the day is to fill that out back to that sunspot. Get this all tapered down right here, all the way up along the side of the walkway. And there's plenty, so it's gonna make it, because as I've mentioned, the goal is essentially to connect what you can see here above Leviathan with the stuff back through there that you can't see to the stuff all under over there that you also can't see. So I will retain one eye on the thermometer. We're up to about 56. It's a little warmer in the sun. I will get all those paints sunning out, and we're just gonna try to paint and move, 20 tons of material here in one morning / afternoon. And I'm gonna take you along for at the very least, the painting part of that journey. So let's get going. I am reminded that there are one or two other items. I have potentially the last, what is it? What do you think that is, mils? I have the last 220 mils of denatured alcohol in the state of California. When I do window masks, traditionally, I don't bother with soap and water, as it takes so long to dry, and I'm wildly impatient. And then what I do is I end up washing the whole body, and then I get my fingerprints all over it, putting the masks on. So I just do denatured alcohol, wipe the area down that I'm working on, because it's going to need washed again after it's sanded, only I don't sand it. I'm a huge fan of 4/0 steel wool. This is what I use to buff the insides of bodies, because it gets up into like creases and corners far better than sandpaper ever could. I have to decide. I think I'll do mine on the inside and the supplied on the outside. We're not gonna, we're not gonna include the every individual step of this process in full. Yeah, you can see they're not the sharpest, because a scanner is not that smart. So when you're scanning masking tape, it can't tell that you don't want all of those choppy edges. It just scans what it sees, and then the fun part is always trying to get the other mask over the mask. And seeing, I've done this 1.5 times now, so I'm something of an expert. I do recommend put the inside masks on before the outside masks, which is also an easy thing to recommend, as I just leave the overspray mask on until I'm ready to put the other masks on. Then I get, in this case, all 8 masks. I don't worry too much about super accurate placement, for the exact reasons one would expect me not to worry about it too much, which is it's only a short matter of time before this, looks like this. There's really no way around it. But I do like matte, so I like a matte finish. So I'm just, you know what, I don't know who I'm fooling, because I feel like it took an interminable amount of time and an absurd number of efforts just to get these window masks on, and the windshield one isn't even on very well. Like, it's straight-ish. From the test fitting, it won't matter. Pinning Lexan is not exceptionally difficult. Little bits of mask sticking on there. The insides of the body, where the shock towers go, when I was test fitting the body to get it cutted out. Yeah, they show up. Yeah, it's already all scarred up in there. So, patina is a thing that's going to develop over time on these anyway. It's the nature of it. I don't shelf things, so things are going to get beat up. It's the rust, really. The attempted weathering patina and the rust. The scratches are going to come. There's nothing I can do to stop the scratches short of not driving it. And I like driving them. Oh, these are wafer thin. And then I don't try to line it up with the window. I try to line it up with the mask that I already put on there, and it's already going. It's going sideways, everybody. But here's the thing. Follow along if you dare. To me, that's fine. I don't see any yellow showing from the inside, so I think it'll be fine. I don't like painting because I understand painting, which is painting, and I've painted more than one house. Painting is at minimum, it's like 90% prep. The only part of painting that can actually be any fun is the actual application of the paint. And when I'm doing these, it's just this constant fear that it's going to come out looking like garbage to me. Like I won't be able to mentally or physically withstand what I have wrought. I press forward and I can't get this mask off the paper. It has pulled up all four corners. It wants to punish me because it knows that I don't like this part and I don't want to do it. But at the same time, I'm also extraordinarily cheap, and I'm not going to pay someone to do it because I can do it. I just don't like it. Hey, that's not bad. And you know, we live and die here by the 6-foot rule. If it looks good from 6 feet, we're good to go. So what we get is what we get. You know, a little more time and care, and all of you out there in the virtual world can achieve a better result. Likely achieve a better result than what I will. Look at that. That is terrible. But you know what? From 6 feet, I think it will be amazing. So, before I commence to physical labor, I will be using good old-fashioned sandpaper for the, bringing up the body lines and what have you. But I did remember that I will be at least getting some hobby stuff injected in here. I've got Tier Schwarz tar black from Revell, which I will be using for the dry brushing, as most of the people use the Tamiya. Is it Tamiya? Yeah, it's the Tamiya like weathering palettes. A, I don't have any of those here. B, I wouldn't even know where to get them, aside from ordering them on the internet and wait another week. And this body is going to be finished in this video. There's aluminum for any metallic highlights. I'm hoping it will be a good match. But this guy, because, my initial plan is, old school. You spray some of this on a little piece of plastic, like a little scrap of Lexan, and you take a Q-tip or whatever, and you do your own dirty dry brushing. And then I think the one that will be used the most is I've got rust. I don't 100% remember buying that. Maybe in my brain I had intended to do some sort of finish like this and just never did. I didn't have to do. I felt like I didn't have to do weathering on the Defender body because they're made of aluminum and they don't rust. So what won't be explicitly shown, but what will happen here is you go like this a lot, and because we're doing both sides, you do it inside and out. And 4-aught leaves a nice, I feel like that's enough. For the patina stuff on the outside, I am going to want more like a deeper cut. So I also have some 220 and 320 available for that. But I'm going to do the rest of this with that. I think this is, honestly, and I think we got a good cloud on there. I think this is a good project for me because, anecdotal moment here. I had a life-changing episode about a year and a half ago, I want to say. My wife decided that she wanted one of those mosaic tile backsplashes in the kitchen. And I've done tile before, you know. I've done a bathroom floor here and there. I've done a little bit of wall tile. You know, I've done some tile. But she wanted this glass mosaic tile, picked it out, said, that's the one. That's the one we're going to do. And I had never worked with glass tile before. And honestly, it's a nightmare because all it did was chip and pieces kept breaking. And the whole time I was doing it, I was just spiraling. Like, this is terrible. It's never going to get any better. And then at a certain point, I just had this breakthrough, which was, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done. So I got my cuts finished, and I finished it. And you know what? It looks really good. There's a couple spots in the where a part broke, like a little corner chipped out of a piece of glass, and the grout filled it in. And if you're looking very, very close, you can see that little extra bit of grout there. But I learned, you don't see that little bit of grout unless you look for that little bit of grout. So I stopped looking for it. So this is more like manufacturing imperfection, embracing the imperfection. So it's gotten to a point now where even just going through this part, much as I don't like painting things, I'm kind of strangely looking forward to this. So we're going to put I'm going to just put all the cans out in the sun and let them warm up a little bit, and then move some stuff for a few minutes, and then we'll come right back to this. Yeah. I feel like in the past I've at least been vocal about how I feel about painting. But all told, you know, it's not terrible. I obviously have a painting area. It's outdoors in the fresh of airs. I have this guy, which had very mixed Amazon reviews, the I Can Mix. And you'll see it's got some nuts and bolts and washers. It comes with a little welded part on there, and all the negative reviews say that part's just going to break off. And they're not wrong. It did within the first month or so. But once a can is warm, you get a very rewarding feeling. I mean, it really does mix paint extraordinarily well. I do this for about 30 seconds, which I did off camera. It'll hold them in upside down. And it'll even do the tiny little Tamiya cans. You'll get to see that perhaps later. I'm still leaning towards the blue. Of course, I should have a little flag out here. Of course, the second my palm touched this can, the wind picked up. So, I'm a big believer in first coat is dust. So I do that, and then I take this back out and set it back over in the sun. And honestly, I generally go 10 to 15 minutes between coats, like flash coats. It'll be 2 to 3 coats on the inside, 2 to 3 coats on the outside. So this is probably an hour and a half to get that done, because I want to get this down as light as I possibly can. And I mean, realistically, it flash dries, but I have a tendency to be like, let's get this done, and that never works out well for anyone. So I'm gonna set a little timer on my friend here. We'll do 10 minutes, and every 10 minutes I'm going to put a coat, and I'm not going to make you watch all of that because it's going to look exactly like what you just saw now, only I have to do it 5 more times. As I think one would expect, it is now silver, and it is also now windier, probably windy enough to hear it. We will do a small cursory wipe down of the outside. Like I say, I feel like it's all part of the patina. If there's some spots, paint doesn't adhere as well as others. I think I'm absolutely fine with that. So again, this is just like it was before, only I try to touch it less. Just very light. Not much to say about this. It does give a very nice, even silver color when painting from both sides, I must say. But I will resist all temptation to just stop at silver. It's going to be, I guess I'm going to have to use the window masks to determine, look at that wind go, to determine that I have gotten enough silver on the outside, though I don't know, I mean, making it up as I go along, I don't know if it's that critical that it gets that full of a silver coat on the outside. Honestly, I think that's probably good. I'll do another dust coat. I can leave this right here because we've got some sun. I'll do another dust coat of that. And then I'm also now, I'm wondering in my head, I didn't put out in the sun, but I have like a primer gray. I think the white will probably pop more. I don't know. I'll decide. There's 2 coats of silver on the outside. This thing's been going for a little while. I realize now there's not a ton of white in here. Now that I dig through the memory banks, I had to back the inside of the paint on Zoidberg. There's a couple things that have gotten painted white, so it feels like it's enough. I think it's fairly consistent. It's very difficult to say, as it's silver on the outside, silver on the inside. It looks pretty even. The color of the paint looks consistent. So let us go scratch out there. And then we'll just, oh, it's not going to take much white at all. Yeah, because the can is mostly empty. It's been sitting out in the sun for a good hour and a half now, so yeah. And of course, after this is the part where it can all go terribly wrong. You'll note the wind is now blowing the opposite direction from when I put the last coat of silver on. So I will do this in 2 coats, try to get a sort of even, consistent coating of white on there. Although, I mean, that looks pretty good because we don't want what comes through to be super consistent, right? I don't know. At least 1 more full coat of white, and then the part I'm most nervous about, the salt. As it turns out, there was just enough. Get that real hollow. As it turns out, there was just enough white in there to finish this, and it got a really even. I mean, yeah, it looks like it's made out of styrene now. So now that it's got multiple layers of paint on the outside and a couple layers of paint on the inside, I think unbeknownst to you, because time does not exist in YouTube, this will sit for a few minutes, because next comes the water and salt, and the sun is coming through perfectly right through the trees right now, as you can see. So that will sit for, oh, maybe time for me to eat lunch. You know, I'll eat lunch and then I'll come back and we'll see if we can't mess this up by putting water and salt, Himalayan sea salt all over it. Let's see how the patina finish works with Himalayan sea salt. I mean, you know, what is the worst that can happen? I ate some sort of chicken pocket things that I found in the bottom of the freezer. One of them tasted off. Water. Yes, the Himalayan pink salt. The grinder gets it really fine, like powder. So I figure, I don't know. We can go through a variety of grades, and then this actually concerns me every bit as much as the fact that I'm using a Himalayan salt grinder, because I can't find any regular table salt. I do have this to the finest imaginable. Oh, it's like mist. Okay, so I'm just diving in, you know. Get it a little wet and a lot of wet. Let's go middle salt dot here. Oh, well, it's easy to see. It shows up well. And you know what? Now that I'm seeing medium salt dot, we're gonna go to fine salt dot. That's crunchy. Oh yeah, there we go. I am once again winging it. Oh, there we go. This is, I mean, certainly not the most absurd thing I've ever done, but this is the top 10. I'm seasoning this J Concepts creeper. That, I don't know. That feels like a lot of salt. I don't know how well it's showing up. I feel like it's showing up pretty well against the white. And here we go. This is officially the Rubicon. How heavy do I go with this? I'm not sure. It looks insane. It's making all the water droplets run down. I feel like I should probably do this in multiple coats. Oh, look at that. That's crazy. Let's oh, look at that. Just running down. We'll see what that does. Okay, now, if I'm recollecting the video correctly, if this goes terribly wrong, though, you know, I look at it through the viewfinder here, it doesn't look as awful as I thought. Was I supposed to wipe some of the water off? I don't know. We're gonna keep going right at it, just like this. I will let that sit for some amount of time, as Rust-Oleum does not dry nearly as quickly as vinyl and fabric paint. This is me distracted because I'm reading the can. Yes, it is above 65 degrees. Don't use this on galvanized metal. Dry and recoat. Dries to the touch in 15 minutes. Dries to handle in 1 to 2 hours. Apply a top coat or recoat within 1 hour. Oh yeah, because it's like an enamel. Okay. So, I guess we will let that sit. I will move it to a sunny location. We will let that sit for an hour. Yes, I will make note, 1 hour. Then I will do the salt and primer again. And then I'm really still thinking blue. So probably blue. Probably blue. So I waited the agreed upon amount of time, and trust me, it wasn't easy. I just want to get things over with. Then I took, you know, good old shop towel and wiped the salt off, and I mean, it's kind of crazy looking. The paint appears to have cured perfectly. Actually, when I was rubbing it, I could kind of buff the lines and get the red to come off, which is, I think, why we do 2 applications of the salt. So, I mean, it's pretty nuts looking. And also why there's 2 applications. There are just spots that I like completely missed with the red. So, we'll just do it again. I think I'm going to go a little less salt this round. I should have put a little more water in the bottle. A little bit less salt. Get the side. This side I think is perfect. Only got the micro fine on the back. Like, look how fine those dots are. So this is kind of this is in my wheelhouse, really, because it's all about the imperfections. And hey, all right, it's kind of where I live. So let's try to get in here. Cover it all over again. I am just going to do a single coat of red oxide this time around. It actually dried really, really quickly. I probably could have done this 20 or so minutes ago, but I figured there's no real rush other than the rush that's being manufactured in my brain. I do like how a can of Rust-Oleum sprays. It really puts it out there. So there is pretty much second salt. Yeah, I definitely went a little more conservative on the salt this time, and I think that's probably good, as it was pretty well pocked out. I think we've made it through this portion unscathed. Just make sure I get all the little edges. This will then sit for another hour or so, probably shooting for an hour. And then I'm pretty sure I wipe off the salt and then just go over it with the color, which as of this moment is still to me a blue. I think it's to me a blue. I think that will look nice with the rust popping through. So there's that. That's the second coat. Second verse, pretty much exactly the same as the first. Put this out in the sun. It really, like, it's very, I don't know how well it shows, it's very bumpy. Like, you can see all the texture. When it dries, that's just all gone. I will try to remember, you know, it's an hour in my time, 0 seconds in YouTube time. I will try to remember to show a camera close-up of that once it's cured, and it really just lays down perfectly flat. So another hour, then knock the salt off, then put the color coat on, pretty sure, and then let it cure again, and then start trying to mess it up without messing it up, if you get where I'm coming from. It did occur to me, once I got the last of the coats on here, that, I mean, there are many coats of paint and 3 colors on the outside of this. I could paint this virtually any color. I have, if it doesn't have to have a PS in front of it, I have a lot of colors. But I think in the time that has passed since this process began, I think my heart got set on PS3 light blue. And here's fingers crossed, hoping that there's enough. All right, I'm already feeling pretty good about this decision, because honestly, I think, and this is just one lunatic's opinion, but even without doing the weathering, like, I like that. Like, look at that. Does it have enough light on it? Like that looks really cool to me. So, I don't trust myself enough to get it like uniformly distressed, I guess we'll call it. So I think I'm just going to go for a like not high gloss, full finish coat. I still want to see a little bit of the red coming through, just a little. And I really have to remember to get the back of those fenders. This, yeah, PS, and I don't mean that as in, please take extra note. I mean, PS, it dries so fast. So fast. Honestly, I think this might be a one coater. Just have to make sure I don't have any big missed areas. I can already see the back of the fender right there. Try to make sure to get around the windows. I like that I can see a little bit of white poking through in some spots. I think that, well, maybe a little, see, is it getting too fine? I think this is, when you think it's enough, it's enough. I'm thinking we're there. I could just keep touching at it like that for the rest of the day. There's a decent amount, like if I miss a big chunk or I feel it needs another blast of blue. But I think there we have it. And I think now it just has to have another sunset, and then it's sandpaper time. And from when it was half red, half blue, I liked it. So I'm going to clean up what's outside. And the next time you see this, I'll be trying to sand it to make it look, I don't know, like I didn't actually sand it. This is the artsy part, I guess. Yeesh. For complete transparency, the hour turned into a long 20 minutes, let's call it, as I had sat down to relax my aching back, and like I got the real dirt band going, and my brain pulled me aside and said, hey, wasn't there something about how you're supposed to paint the inside the same color as the outside? Look how smooth that is. I mean, that's kind of what I'm used to. I don't know, I like this. I like this textured look, and I haven't even taken sandpaper to it yet. So I did that, and then, you know, I used my hairdryer, which is the heat gun turned almost all the way down, so it gets to about, I don't know, maybe 150 degrees or so. And I just get her nice and warm, and it really does help to set all the layers together. Look at that. I mean, that's definitely a patina. So I have no recollection as to whether this is supposed to be dry sanded or wet sanded, but I'm going to assume wet. This is good old 400, and I would think you start on stuff that would be more exposed, and then I want to kind of try to take the rust texture down a little bit, like get it more smooth. So it will be this process, working nice and slow. Oh, you know what? I gotta say, I gotta say, yeah, I think I like it. So it will be that process that I want to get, I want to get the rough knocked down to a little smoother, get the high lines, a little more rust or white showing. And this is going to be a time consumer. So I'm going to do this, and I'll pop in if I have any notes. I don't know if there's a correct technique. I just know what my technique is. I'm kind of swirling on the sides. You can hear the texture. And I'm just trying to knock that texture off. Now when I get to edges or panels where I think there'd be more wear, I just go one way. Like I don't go it's either kind of trying to do fore to aft because I think that's how the rust would progress. That's how the wear would be from front to rear. And you can see it's very easy to remove material, to remove the blue. I got a little over aggressive there. So what I generally try to do, keep it a little wet and then try to take that all the way down to silver. We'll get a nice silver spot there. And then I do have the opportunity to touch, because like, to me that's overly white at the moment. But I have the opportunity to touch that up. I don't think it's too bad. The thing I'm really actively trying to do is not have any spots that are, I guess, too blue. Like I want it uniformly irregular. I think wet is definitely the way to go. I don't know. Maybe pros do this dry. I'm a little bummed with that, but I think I'm going to do the grill sticker and then kind of use the little acrylic paints to kind of weather them up. I don't feel like I've taken enough on this side. Yeah, there's still a lot of texture there. But like very, very little pressure on the sandpaper. Because it's so easy to just pull it down to the white, and actually even to pull it down to the silver. It's honestly, it's more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be. Once I saw that blue over the red, I was like, yeah, I think everything's gonna come out fine. Yeah, little stuff like that would bother me, but not so much. And I think the really fine salt is what looks kind of, to me, kind of looks the best. So you get right in here, and this is where the salt was really fine. Like, that's so good. I do have a matte clear to go over this, so after everything's all done, it will get the matte clear. I kind of want to go deeper. I like this little, it's really getting the patina going. It's like, when you think it's enough, it's enough. So it's definitely looking, it's looking like something. I don't know. I don't know if it's too much white, or I don't know if it's not enough white. It might be that it's not enough white. It's when I just get a little patch like this, it just looks too, that stands out too much. Kind of want to, and then yeah, I got to take some down there. But this is the arty bit of it. I mean, I like how that looks. Probably want to go through the rust actually here a little bit, get a little more around here. But yeah, it's it's a take your time sort of process. If I were to estimate how much time this would take a normal person to do this normally, I wouldn't. I don't give yourself a time frame. You could do this in a day. I'm sure I'm going to do it in a day, over the course of a day. But you could do this over the course of 2 weeks. You know, do a little bit, do a little bit. And as you all know, I'm a big J Concepts fan. I think this is a superb body to start with. It has the old time look, so it kind of lends to a patinaed finish. It's small. It comes pre-cut. It's just like this, and it's $25. So if there's a body to experiment on, I would say it's a $25 cab. So I'm gonna get some more sanding done on this, and then we'll get to the. I'll see. I haven't dry brushed. I haven't dry brushed in a long time, but I feel like I still probably got it. And they're acrylics, so it's almost impossible to mess up. So if I do some rust streaking and I don't like it, spray bottle, it just wipes right off. So there you have it. Here's where we're at so far. And when it dries, it really starts to look cool. So I'm just hoping it doesn't come out too Captain America red, white, and blue. You know, it's a process. So I will admit, it can get out of hand pretty quickly. It becomes really quite addictive. Just like sanding more and taking a little more off here and a little more off there. And I got to a point where, like, I don't know, maybe it's confirmation bias, but I feel like that rust looks like rust. I kept trying to get more off right there, and I don't know. That's just how it was. Then I remembered I have a this is a weeding tool for vinyl, but I don't like using it for vinyl. I like to weed my vinyl with a number 11 X-Acto knife. But what this guy is great for is you can get right in the panel lines, and you can kind of just scribe down through the top colors. And it really, I mean, because you have to remember, there's so many coats on here, and they went on so close together that it's like you're really digging through the paint. And when you get to like little lines like this, I don't know. I think for me, it's those little details. Then what I have are my good old acrylics here. And what I will generally do is, like with the rust, this is how I've always dry brushed. We get a little on there, get a little on, try to remove most of it onto the paper towel. Then pick a spot where you think rust would come, and you just kind of, I go over that, and that's heavy. So we, the rust, the Revell rust, and the Duplicolor spray can, they really are the same color, because I've done this whole line up along here and up along the front, and it looks the same to me. So I do the same with silver. Don't want to get too, I realize we're out of frame here. I don't want to get too much on there. And sort of the same thing, like it would have a little, put a little across there. And then just kind of blend it in. And that's kind of the method I've always used. And once the brush gets to the right amount of wetness, I guess you would call it, it gets a lot easier to apply the little dry brush details. And the dry brushing really helps tone down like where I think the spots of white are too bright. So I'm going to use the combination of the rust and the silver. And I might grab some of the black to try to tone down some of these spots a little more. Get into the little nooks and crannies, try to cut into those a little more. And get the decals pulled off, because I want the decal here. And I would like a little vent sticker there. And I will get that stuff on there, and I will get this part of the, I don't know, I guess detailing done. And then after that, it's just hit it with clear and pull the masks off. Forgotten, then remembered. I had forgotten that I have these like auto body specific Scotch Brights, uh, you know, for painting things. So after I scribe the line, as you can see, I mean, that line is quite chunky. You get in here with this guy, and you just, and I don't know, it's like it's like the smudge stick for graphites. It, it really just smooths everything out. I'm really liking it. The center here, this was rust and silver all along the nose. Some silver here through what was white. I think my best work is right there on that top corner. That looks quite natural. The scribing of the door frame looks great. I want to get a little bit of darker in there, so I might open up the tar black. Like I got a perfect dry brush. Ignore what's on the mask and just look at the bottom edge of the window there. There's like a perfect dry brush of worn silver there. Some of the little bits on here look fantastic. I mean, they're incidental. I love the roof. It's really coming along. And you know, does it take time? Yes. Would I consider it time consuming? No. It's just like this is the most fun I've had doing a body in a long time because it's not about masking, it's not about crisp lines, it's not about any of that. It's just about like what feels right. I could leave it right like that and be content with it. It has grown on me already. Look at that rust on that door. I mean, it really needs to be out in sunlight to catch it. I want to get some more detail on there. And oh, I got to find those decals and put the decals on. And get some dry brushing over that. Get some more around the windows. I think I have some door handles. I want to look around and see if I can find some door handles. But I mean, that doesn't have to be now. I can put them on at any time. But I'm loving how it's coming out so far. At this point, I'm in pretty deep. I've taken now to, all right, like okay, we got a couple steps here. We've got 3 colors out now. I had taken the tar black, mixed it about maybe 3 parts paint, 7 parts water, guesstimatingly. And I was using that with the fan brush with just the tiniest bit on it to employ the finger technique to take some of the brightness down. Get a little on there, just kind of work it in. Then, purely by accident, the brush that I was using for rust, the rust paint, had hardened up. So I took that brush and I kind of dipped it in the tar water, and it gives this wonderful patina color, which I do the kind of the same thing to try to tone spots down, like where I think the white is too stark. And it just, see, it's in proper dry brushing mode now. And if it looks like it's getting a little too defined, then just kind of spread it out. And I've just kind of been working over the whole guy like this. Like if I think that's a little too bright, I'll just get a little on there. Move it around a little. It's a very additive process. Like even though I'm wiping most of it off, it's still really calming down how bright that spot is. I don't think it wants to be that bright. So like if I wanted to go across there, see, it just takes it down. So, I mean, this really does take me back. I went through a phase in my youth of spending entirely too much hard-earned lawn mowing money on Tamiya and Hasegawa models, and I built much armor and planes and everything else. That was before discovering RC cars, because RC cars are models that you can drive. Oh yeah, that's perfect right there. So the thing is, I'm gonna have to find a point where I make myself stop, because this, to me, this is better than painting any body. Even though I am painting a body, I think the decals look fine. Like, I feel like it needs some black in it, so I was hitting it with the kind of wash along those lines to give it a little shadowing. There's always a point where the brush is just perfect, and you can just, like, okay, if I want to take that down. So good. So good. And I think it's going to look, I mean, once it starts getting some scars, and once those decals are off and you can see through the windows, I think this thing is going to be pretty great. So we are definitely getting close to completion on that, thankfully. Not that I'm not having a grand time, just that whiteboard's not getting any emptier, and this video is not getting any shorter. But my offering of patina paint job is not like other folks. Oh, okay. I did want to mention this had occurred to me a little bit ago. If I were to do this again, and I think it's all but guaranteed that I'm doing this again, with the Rust-Oleum red oxide, what is serving for the rust, I would just do one coat, because that stuff is so, like, it's designed to be sprayed on rusty metal. So it was, in a lot of spots, it was very difficult to get down to the white. So if you're not using a Tamiya rust, and you're just going to buy paint at the auto parts store and the home improvement center, I would definitely recommend one coat of the red for the rust. I mean, I think it's the absolutely perfect color. I think it looks like rust. I think I'm going to do a little more wash with the black. I need to do it. Well, I feel like there's too much blue up through here. So I'm going to hit those areas a little more, and then basically it's just clear, masks off. And maybe in this, what is probably an hour-long video, a little bit of running footage. Why not? Why not? All cleared, window masks removed, and I'm in like the 96th percentile in terms of them lining up. I think the two windshield masks lined up perfectly. That driver's side was a little high on the inside mask. This one looks fine. There's a little crusty line there, but that's fine. And I think the rear window looks fantastic. I'm nothing but pleased with how this came out. I don't think it's going to be fully cured for about 5 days. There are spots of particularly thick paint where, it feels like you could scrape it off like crayon, because it was just coat, and I think it comes down to that Rust-Oleum in the middle, which looks absolutely tremendous, but 2 coats of it is a bit thick. So I tamed some of this down with the wash in the front. And I mean, honestly, let's see what it looks like in some proper daylight conditions. and we'll just run it for a couple minutes because I need to get a picture of it for the thumbnail. I need to get a picture of it for Instagram, and I moved a lot of material today, like quite a lot. I should have I feel like this guy's gonna get a partner because I mashed this one like right there, right between two rocks. They just with that guy right in between. So it seems fitting. That guy's halfway grown out. It's time for another one. But I really want to run this. The smell of paint in here is fantastic. So I'm becoming more chatty than usual by the moment. My fingers are all stained from just working it out. I love it. I think in the sun, it looks a little more. The red and blue are combining for a sort of turquoise look to it, and I love it. Like I should have done this sooner. So let's run it and wrap it up, and hopefully in the edit this isn't 2 hours long, This is the pretty much official first run for the trugified Daphne the Sport, as the amount of wheeling I have done with it previously was just to make sure the motor was connected in the proper direction and centering the servo horn. Other than that, it has not really been driven. I did what I ordinarily do, but to a much greater degree, which was make a substantial amount of changes, like many changes. Oh, it does look good though. I want to get to a spot where I can test this drag brake if I don't flip it immediately. Wow. I thought that was gonna roll for sure. Yeah, it's a very different feel, the Outrunner. I love that matte. I love the look of the blue with the rust. I honestly don't even mind the there's a definite high pitch. There's a whine to the Outrunner. But for some reason, with this cheap speed control and equally cheap Outrunner, it doesn't have that. It just sounds pretty normal. I mean, there's a squeal there, but even that's not, like right there, and you let it go, even that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Yeah, Daphne has got a lot of front weight now. That's a bad place to be. Let's reset that. Yeah, low on 900 kV, if I can be heard over the wind chimes and hurricane behind me. Like low is proper low. All right, here we go. That's full speed and low. All right, full speed and high. See, that's excellent. I'm 100% good with that. The tip-in, I think, has everything to do with the $59 speed control. Like it just right when I first put any tension on the trigger, it doesn't have that brushed smoothness where you can get that microscopic RPM. There's a little tiny bit of a, like in reverse it's better, and of course drag brake is like, my buddy was here yesterday when I was getting the drivetrain finalized, and he was trying to push it, and he goes, is something like broken or binding, because I can't even push this thing, and there was no battery plugged in. And I was like, no, that's Outrunner drag brake. Wow, she will go. That body looks so good. I didn't know how I'd feel about truggies with the rear just. Ooh, there was a nice little with nothing going on in the back. But I don't know, I like it. A little rub there from the tire. Is this breachable? I mean, if it is, we've got the torque for it. It's a strange thing. I don't find that high-pitched tone. Seems like it's over 1,000 hertz. I don't find it that objectionable. I don't find it nearly as objectionable as right now. I'm sure the mic isn't picking it up over the wind chimes, but the servo is doing the that I can't handle. Like, that drives me nuts. But this, I thought it would, I guess I was expecting more mucho ruidoso, but it's not. That's manageable because it's just a constant tone. Oh, there you go. You getting the right RPM? It makes a ghostly noise. Let's get on some steep and see what kind of control we've got. That drag brake is truly something to behold. If I can get up. Yeah, it's just the very initial tip in. After that, it's got all the low speed control you could want. My only worry is that the randomly selected pinion gear, will it have bump? The answer is yes. Look at her go. Look at her bobble. It's so good. I have no complaints about this at all. I think the body looks far better than I could have hoped. And I'm so glad I went with the PS3 light blue because with how much of the paint I sanded off, I really wanted a light top coat. Like, if I had gone with the red, I think this thing would be overly muted. If I can get that rear up out of the sand like that. This is still hairbun foams in cut canyon trails. There's a lot of torque in that little motor. Does it have enough claw? Oh, I dropped it off. That's a wheel standard. Try a little more angle this way. Oh, I mean, this is, if there's a body that I shouldn't worry about rolling over, I mean, it's this one, right? That's about the limit of where I can go low speed. Oh, so question to everyone involved: should I just go ahead and lop the rear, I don't know, 1.5 to 2 inches off of the chassis? They serve no purpose. I would show off some of the newly minted stuff. As I said, I moved quite a bit of materials, but as you can hear in the background, Eddie's dragging gravel around again with the tractor. And I mean, the wind is, I'm hoping that the little rabbit-tailed guy is keeping it down to a dull roar, because the wind is really going. Yeah, I don't mind it. I'm not mad at it at all. Look at that. So yeah, let me know if I should cut that tail off I mean, it's not. I don't think it's gonna ground out on anything. Like, I think the approach departure angles on this are fantastic, especially with that high bumper. But I mean, just cosmetically, like, to me right there, it just looks like it sticks out a lot. I don't know. So this, before this turns into 2 hours of TRX4 Sport content, as far as I'm concerned, this is to me, this is my ultimate realization of a TRX4 Sport. It's so good. It's so predictable. Okay, that's just vertical. But like I say, see, the tail's nowhere near the ground. Well, if I'm gonna roll it, it's gonna be right here. I'm trying to hop that back. Oh, you know what? Maybe don't cut it, because that's the only thing that stopped that from going straight over backwards. I mean, I don't know. I would like to say imagine Daphne on some proper tires. These were the tires that came on the Defender, the first one I ever bought, and I meticulously baked them off, and they've been on like 3 different sets of bead locks, and then I cut and siped them, and then they got hair buttons for foams for running through water. But there's going to be a countdown clock going to when am I going to roll this? But she's extraordinarily well behaved. I'm not saying that I'm a let's do this to the whole fleet, but at the same time, I feel like I'm something of an outrunner convert now, because I mean, I totally get it. Look at that. This thing is, I mean, Daphne the Sport was a fun drive before, but this is next level stuff now. Everything about it feels good. And I just saw how good that framing is right there. So that's where we're going to wrap it up, everybody. Thanks for anybody who stuck all the way through this. I genuinely had a good time doing that body. I think it came out fantastic. Am I 100% absolutely blown away by it? No, I see where I could have done things differently. I think primarily it's the 2 coats of red. If I had done 1 coat of red, I think it might be perfect. So anyhow, again, thanks for watching. Leave a comment below if you have anything to say, if you have any comment to make of any kind. Subscribe if you haven't. Check out some other videos if you haven't seen them all. And I don't know, there's probably a couple of you who have seen them all, but I imagine the rest have not. And definitely look forward to more Daphne the Sport content in the future for sure. I don't know if I will go through the full documentation process the next time I do a Patina body, but like this was a good time. I genuinely had a good time, and I hope you had a good time watching. And I sincerely hope you tune in for the next one. And, you know, have a good one, everybody.